guys, it's Bo. We're back in the house again. That weekend was crazy, man. All those thunderstorms, tornadoes all over the place here in Detroit, Michigan. And Wade was nice enough to be patient with us with the Indy Pro Series. Wade finished up 16th out west. And we got another story coming on right here, something I got wind of. Her name is Erica Enders. She's one of the top drivers in the country and in the world. How you doing, Erica?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You've got a really nice background, how you got involved in really National Hot Rod Association and crossing over to really running the Pro Series. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. Well, my dad drove his entire life, so my sister and I kind of grew up around the sport of drag racing. And in 1992, NHRA came out with a junior drag racing league where kids from 8 to 17 could drive like a half-scale car of the pro top fuel car. So it was a really cool opportunity for us to be 8 years old and be able to drive. We went half of the distance, an eighth of a mile instead of a quarter of a mile, but our cars would beat any, street production car, from a Viper to a Corvette to, you name it. So we were going pretty fast and got introduced to the sport at a young age. And when I believe I was 19, I got offered to drive a pro stock car, which is one of the 4 professional categories in NHRA drag racing. There's only 90 pro drivers, and I got hired on in 2004, and I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I absolutely love it.
Now, how has the response been for you in racing? Because we always hear there's some stigmatisms out there, but it seems like you've been very, very well received.
Yeah, I really have. I mean, since I've been around the sport my entire life, and I've kind of worked my way up, I didn't just come on the scene and just show up, I've been driving for 16 years. So everybody, I've been around the track, and I've kind of known all these people for a long time. I'm only the 5th woman to have ever competed in pro stock in the 56-year history of NHRA, so there haven't been a whole lot of females, and, I own all the records for females in pro stock. So it's been a really cool opportunity for me. And, I've been really well received, like you said, yes, but at some time, at some point, you hear a couple of things of, the chauvinistic stuff, or you shouldn't be doing this, and, you need to be home cleaning the kitchen or taking care of the kids. But for every person that's like that, there's a million people who are behind me 100%.
Yeah, I was pretty much introduced into following this concept that we're developing here at the Z, basically because of my daughter. She's involved in basketball, and I started doing some tooling around trying to find out information for her, and I came across that the media is not always the most receptive to women in sports or women in athletics. And your story is very unique because you really come across powerfully. You've got that movie that was out by Walt Disney that had the highest rating for that channel called Right on Track.
Yes, we filmed that movie back in 2002 when I was a senior in high school, and it was released in March of 2003. So it's been out, and it's their #1 hit on the Disney Channel. Like you said, it's the most watched made-for-TV Disney movie ever. So it was really well received by the fans and by people that weren't even interested in drag racing. Disney has over 85 million subscribers to their channel, and, just to have that many people have seen your movie, I get kids that come out to the racetrack, and even adults, that say, I've never been to an NHRA Power drag race, before, and I saw your movie, and I just had to come out here and watch you guys, and, and now they're a fan for life. They're absolutely hooked on the sport, so it's been really a cool experience, very surreal for me, because I've just followed my dream, and with the help of my dad and my family, I've made it this far. So it's kind of weird for me still.
Now, how do you feel like being a pioneer in this new world for women that are coming forward?
I think it's a great opportunity. I grew up watching people like Shirley Muldowney and Shelly Anderson, and now there's me in the sport, and a good friend of mine, Hillary Will, and John Force's daughter, Ashley Force. So you're starting to see more and more female drivers in the professional categories. I think we're up to 4 or 5 now, so that's a lot better than it was before, and we've got at least one female in every professional category. So it's been really cool, and we get all the little girl fans out there that, I remember having that look in my eye standing on the other side of the road getting an autograph. Like, I want to do this one day. So it's really cool to hear the stories and see the fans and talk to them. It's really an amazing opportunity. I'm truly blessed to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, and to back up in the movie, it must be pretty cool to have people cast for you, because you get to sit there and go, wow, this movie star wants to be me. I'm thinking of, like, the Big Show from the WWE, or even, Dwayne Johnson for my life. Pick out the 2 extremes for myself.
There you go. Yeah, Beverly Mitchell, who played Lucy Camden on Seventh Heaven, portrayed me in the movie, and she's just an amazing girl and an extremely talented actress. But, her and I are a lot alike in real life, so she always joked, I didn't really have to act that much to play you, and I mean, it turned out very well. They added a few things. They say they Disneyfied it or, made it more interesting. Like I never crashed, and I crashed in the movie, and I never did in real life in a junior dragster. I have now, but, just added some things for some spiked interest, I guess, in our sports. So it was really an interesting movie, I guess.
No, and I have to say it was, because it draws a lot of attention to a sport that we sometimes, in the mainstream, sometimes not pay attention to because of NASCAR, then there's Indy, and then all the other sports come into it. And your movie and your story has sort of hit that mark where it's reinvigorating people saying, well, what is this sport about? And when they released it finally on DVD, because I'm trying to find out where to get it, it's going to reach another whole group of people to really examine the sport. You are truly an ambassador for that sport, regardless if you're a man or a woman.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's really cool, and I'll have to send you a movie. I know where to get them.
Oh, thanks. Now, when you talk about the racing scene, what is kind of like the next step area where you're going? Because you've accomplished a lot and then some. You're turning the heads of even the top male drivers in other categories where your name's starting to come up in circles. What is the next growth for you right now in racing?
Well, people have asked me, is this just a step for you to get to Top Fuel, or it's a funny car? And, Pro Stock's always been my favorite class in drag racing because it's a driver's class. You have to, the car's got a clutch, and you have to shift 4 times going down the racetrack at, you're going 210 miles an hour. Granted, the Top Fuel cars go over 300, and they're faster, and they kind of view that as a step up. But at the same time, I really want to stay focused on Pro Stock, and I want to succeed in this class and win some races and maybe a championship before I consider moving up. I'm not opposed to the idea, but I do, love Pro Stock, so I hope to stay here for quite some time.
I think the biggest thing about this is the amount of G-force that gets put on your body when you start slamming those gears in the Pro Series. Explain what that's like, like for the first 10 times you've done it.
It's just crazy. I mean, the first time I let the clutch out in a Pro Stock car, I was just absolutely blown away by, how hard it just sets you back in your seat. Because you let the clutch out and you go 0 to 100 in 1 second. So it's just like, shooting you out of a cannon almost. It's really crazy. We pull about 3.5 to 4 Gs, not as much as the Top Fuel guys pull about 5.5 to 6, which is more than the space shuttle launches at. So it's a lot of G-forces, and the G-force is your body weight, times 4. So if you weigh 100 pounds, it's like 400 pounds pushing you in the seat. So it's quite a force, and you start to get used to it the more times you've done it. But the first few times, it just kind of, when you're on a roller coaster and you drop off over the edge and you get that feeling in your stomach, it's kind of like that.
And the other thing is that what do you do for pre-race jitters? Do you get tunnel vision, or how does that work out for you?
Well, having to do all the things that we do in the race car and having to execute them perfectly every single time. We don't have a lap to make it up. We just have to make an error-free run. So I spend a lot of time visualizing. I get in the car probably 10 minutes before I have to run and get all belted in and stuff, and I just go through the runs over and over and over again in my head and execute every procedure that I have to